Okay, guys, somebody asked me a question, and the question is very, 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 very interesting. Very interesting question. And this was the question the person asked. Is it a sin for a man to sleep with a lady whom he has paid her bride price even before going to church? I hope you understand this question. So, me, I want to answer this question in this way. All right, I want to answer this question in this way. Um, Before I start answering, I'm going to say something. Now, understand that we have three types of doctrine. Three types of doctrine. The first one is the uh, uh, biblical doctrine. Remember, the scripture said this, the scriptures has been given to us for doctrine first, for reproof, for correction. So that is scriptural doctrine or biblical doctrine. And we have the doctrine of men, what the Bible called the doctrine of men. All right, it has to do with the tradition of men, the the belief of men. Okay, that is in the aspect of tradition now. And we have something we'll call church doctrine. That is where you see all those religious acts playing out. I hope you understand. I said first we have biblical doctrine, second we have human doctrine, men's doctrine, and then the third one we have church doctrine, that is religion. Having understood the three kinds of doctrine, all right, let us also understand that each of these doctrines have their own views in this thing called marriage. All right. So we are going to start from the biblical view. So the question now is, was white wedding actually written in the scriptures? Was it written white wedding, like church wedding? Okay. Now we'll discover that it was not actually written church wedding, church wedding. So if it was not written church wedding, if it was not written that in that way, church wedding, so why do we do church wedding? What does the Bible have to say concerning this very matter? Now let's read the book of John chapter number 2 and verse 1. I'm gonna try to say it from Message translation. Now the Bible said that Jesus was invited to a wedding ceremony in the village of Canaan in Galilee. That is Message translation. So on that note, you will understand that what the Bible is trying to say here is this: that marriage that took place was in the view of the tradition of the village. Now, which will now still bring us back to, how did this white wedding come to be? Who invented this white wedding? The whites. So if the whites invented this white wedding, that is to say, this was their tradition and is still their tradition. That is the white man's ways of handling marriage or going about marriages. Okay? So now they brought this tradition into the church, and then we'll call it white wedding. Okay? Now remember what I said. I said the wedding or the wedding ceremony that took place in the Bible was in the village of Canaan in Galilee. Now it will make me say this. To every tribe, to every uh, 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 country or language or whatever you may call it, there is always a cultural way of handling marriages. Cultural way of handling marriages. So let me bring it down to Africa and let me bring it down to Nigeria. Now, in Nigeria, we have diverse languages. We have diverse languages. And these diverse languages, diverse cultures, apart from the three major cultures now, these diverse cultures have their own way of going about marriages. All right. Now, let me come to Igbo land. If you come to Igbo land, we have different states. And these different states have their own different villages. And in these different villages, they have their different ways of going about marriage. Okay? Now, the Igbos believe that from the now this is in consonance with the scriptures, that once you have paid a woman's bride price, she has automatically become your wife. Okay? So now I still believe that in some other cultures they believe so. However, still understand that there are some persons that will just pay the bride price and they will not go to the church for the white wedding. All right? So, which means they believe staunchly that once the person has paid the lady's bride price, the lady has automatically, officially become his wife. All right. So, on this note, if the lady has become the wife to the man, it is not a sin. Hey, hold on, hold on, hold on. It is not a sin for the man to sleep with the lady, or let me not say sleep with the lady now. It will sound somehow. It's not a sin for the man to have go into intimacy with his wife. Of course, she has become his wife. So now, why do people go for this white wedding? Because of the church. Who brought in church to Africa? The whites. Who introduced white wedding to the Africans? The whites. Whose culture is it? Huh? That they should go to the church with the suit, the white, whatever, and then all the rest of it. The whites. And now, watch this. Because we are in the church, we are part of the church. Because we have become Christians, we have adopted that very culture of the whites. So now it looks bad when a couple per se goes intimate without going to church for the what they call it officially getting married. Yeah, they say we are officially married. So, on this same context, it is also right for you to stay clean and then go to church and then do the white wedding. But the question is it a sin to go into intimacy with your wife because you have paid after the payment? No. Is it right for you to stay or abstain from intimacy until you are done going to church for the white wedding? Is it right? Yes. So the both of them is right, depending on the one you choose. You see, the mentality here is that if you don't go for the church wedding, you are not officially husband and wife, and that has caused so many problems. So many problems that, okay, now to the extent that most people will get pregnant now because of this culture of a thing. Most people will get pregnant once they have paid the bride price. So the man sleeps with the lady gets pregnant, and because they want to go to do the church wedding, and they know that the religion now, you see, the third one has entered. The religion, the culture of the church, the doctrine of the church states that a pregnant woman shouldn't come to church for white wedding. What do? They go for the removal of the baby. And what is causing this thing? The culture of the whites. Am I against it? No. Am I saying you should go and do whatever you want to do with the lady because you have paid her bride price before going to church? No. I just want you to understand that, listen, if you cannot go for the white wedding, all right, just stay calm. It is not wrong so long as you have paid. So long as you have paid. That is exactly what the scripture says here. That is this biblical doctrine. The payment of the lady's bride price. So long as you have paid, the lady is officially your wife. Now, note that once you pay, the parents of the lady will be there. Your own parents or anyone, your guardians, anyone that will represent your people will be there. And they will give you their blessings. And once the blessings has been given, you are officially married. So many people believes in their traditional way of getting married more than the church way of getting married. Am I against church way of getting married? No, of course I did it. But then you have to understand that it's not a sin because she has become your wife. And you also have to understand that you need to obey the rules of the church once you have given yourself to the church. Not all rules, anyways, but this very one that the church believes in, the white wedding. And please, if you are a pastor that is listening to this message or this video record, please don't persuade your people or compel them into removing pregnancies because you want them to complain. Now, there is a portion of the scripture that is actually confusing many, and I'm going to state it. In the book of Hebrews, I believe chapter 13, the Bible said marriage is honorable, bed undefiled. And that is where they drew this their knowledge from and says if you pay the bride price, it is more honorable that you go to church before going to bed. So if you sleep with the lady before going to church, you have committed sin. Now listen, that is not actually what the Bible is trying to say on that context. Now, the Bible said marriage is honorable, bed undefiled, which means the marriage has happened already. And then you need to keep the matrimonial bed sacred, undefiled. That is exactly what the Bible is trying to say. Okay? So please, I want us to understand that if you have paid, she's your wife, and you have every right over her, and she has every right over you. So what we go to the church to do is to fulfill what I call all righteousness. The righteousness of the belief in the church. Okay? The church doctrine, the religion. Okay? So, like I said before, if you are into the church, keep to the church doctrines. Not all of them, because all of them can be, most of them rather can be very damaging. Most of the church religion or doctrines can be very damaging. The ones you know that can help, there are some church doctrines that can actually help your spiritual life, that can help your moral life. Yes, you give into them. All right. So if you are into the church, give into the perfect ones. That is the perfect church doctrines, which the white wedding is part of it. But if you see that you cannot carry it, please don't just go kill yourself to please people. There are so many people who are not even going. Just call a pastor and then he blesses you. Go to the altar, exchange your vows, he blesses you, and that is it. All right? And then the most important thing, to me, the most important way or pattern to marriage is the traditional one. There are so many people who has gone to church to do the church wedding without doing the traditional one, and then that is where it becomes a sin, because you have not paid. The parents of the lady has not given you their consent. The Bible said you have to pay. That is this biblical doctrine. You have to pay the lady's bride price. All right. All right, I'll end it here. So if you have any opinion on this matter, just comment. I would like to see your comment. If you have any question, I would like to have it, and then we'll discuss. God bless you.